Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel, Minimum Player Count. I'm Stephanie, and today we are taking a look at Wizards and Relics by Eternal Realms. This is a 2 to 4 player game, but I do want to remind you that this is a prototype version of the game, and I also want to thank Eternal Realms for gifting me and sending me this game to review and post on my YouTube channel for you guys to see. Let's get started. To set up, you're going to separate your cards by type, being glorious, superb, and common. And you can tell that they are glorious, superb, or common by looking at the bottom left corner of the cards, and you will break them up by color and by artifacts. So these are going to be glorious artifacts, superb artifacts, and common artifacts. And this is blue, green, and red. These are all glorious, these are all superb, and these are all common. So what you do is you would start shuffling these together by their type. So glorious, superb, and common. Shuffle them all together, and then you start making your piles of 4. Okay, so now that we have these 3 shuffled, what we're gonna do is we have our 6 piles, so we're gonna create a pile of 4. And how we do that is we start by placing the cards into groups of 4. So we'll grab this one next. Okay, so now that they have been broken down into 4 piles, if we have 4 players, everybody would get their own pile. 2 players, you get to pick your own pile, and so on. So I will say I'll pick this one for player 1, and we'll pick this one for player 2. The other 2 piles are set to the side for a 2-player game. Or if you're playing with 3 players, 1 pile. So before we get started with the playthrough, I would ask that you please turn on your Klingon subtitles, so in case I make rules mistakes, I will put them there for you to see. When you get your deck, you have the option of looking at all of the cards that have been dealt to you. This is to give you a good idea of what cards you'll have. Like for instance, for me, I'll see that I only have 3 blue cards, so if I have a blue wizard that comes up, it's gonna be rare. I have a lot more reds and only 2 or 4 greens. So that gives me a good idea of kind of what my game strategy will be, or kind of guessing on what cards will be drawn. But as soon as you see that, you have to shuffle your deck so that you don't know what cards you'll be getting. After you have shuffled, you will then take 7 cards, and that will be your starting hand. So I want to show you first the order of advantage. As you can see on the card on your screen, green has an advantage over blue, blue has an advantage over red, and red has an advantage over green. So whenever a card has an advantage, they would get this +1 modifier on that to show that they have a +1 advantage. The next card I'm showing you is the 5 phases of a round. So for the 5 phases, the first thing you do is you reveal the shrine. So in this case, I'll reveal this shrine. And the shrine is the Pillar of Knowledge. So the Pillar of Knowledge, you draw a card for each blue wizard played this round. So the shrines give you kind of an objective of what you kind of want to be doing if you want that advantage, but also your opponents will kind of want that advantage. And if you think maybe your opponent would be playing a blue card, then you might want to play a green card, because then you know that it has an advantage against the blue. But again, if you think, hey, that person's going to try to take an advantage over me, I might play a red card. So it's kind of guessing and what your opponent's going to be playing. So after the shrine, each player chooses a wizard and a relic and plays them face down. So I'm gonna look at my hand now and show you what I have here. So I don't have any blue wizards, so that won't be helpful for me in this round. So I have Hefty Cart, Fancy Pants Mage, Wizard, Ward of Fire, the Extinguisher of the Flame. I have Mischievous Merchant, Sage of Artifacts, and Mr. Magical Maple. All right, some of these cards are funny. Anyways, so for me, because I don't have any blue cards, I might want to play a green mage. And looking here, I'm gonna look at the advantages that this one has 3. So the main purpose of this game is to try to get the most points per round, and that would be the winner of the round. The first person who collects 5 wizards is the winner of the game. So this would give me a great advantage because I'd be starting out with 3 points, and if my opponent plays a blue card, I would have a +1 advantage, so that would mean that would be 4. So, sorry, 4, that's my hand, not, okay. I don't want to do this because it's for +1 for each red wizard. So this one, rival is red, each rival draws a card. I think I'm gonna play these 2. So how that would work is I'd place my wizard on one side and my relic on the other side. And then the opponent would also choose their cards. So I'm gonna look at the cards as if I'm the opponent. So we have Artifact Snob, Mediocre Mage. Not a lot of art on this. Dwarven Minimalist that is naked and got hairy feet. Blank Scroll, because of course. Sage of Fine Trinkets, Druid of Displacement, and Large Wizard's Hat. So, thinking the same thing, my opponent's probably going to play a blue if they have a blue card. I want to play a green card. And this one says you may exchange a relic you control with one from your hand. So I could say I'm going to play this and this because just in case my opponent places something else, I can then put this relic out to exchange it in case I think I'm gonna win. So it's a may exchange. I don't have to do that, but we can take a look. So I'll place my wizard down and my relic. We'll then go on to step 3. So all players reveal wizards. So simultaneously we'll both show our wizard cards. So we both played green and we both have 3. So then we apply the shrine abilities. So this is specifically for blue wizards and neither of us play a blue wizard, so this shrine would be null. And then we would apply wizard abilities. So this one doesn't have an ability, but this one does. And it says you may exchange a relic you control with one from your hand. So since I know that my opponent has the same points as me, I might want to exchange my relic and say I'm going to place this one. And then simultaneously we'll reveal relics. And then we apply relic abilities. So for me, each rival draws a card. So this person would then be able to draw a card, put it into their hand, and this one doesn't do anything except give them +1. So my score is 6 and theirs is 4. So I would win this round. I would put my mage into the Hall of Fame or into the Hall of Immortality, which is phase 4. And then phase 5 is all players discard down to 7. So if I had more than 7 cards in my hand, I would have to discard. Same for my opponent, but we don't. And then winner chooses to either take a loser's relic, so I could take this relic, or draw a card. And I don't want that relic, so I'm gonna draw a card. Then these all go to our discards. And your discard pile is face up for your opponents to see because they can actually take from that discard pile, or you could take from your discard pile. That is how a turn works. And the loser also draws 2 cards, at the end. You don't have to discard your 2 cards that you have if you were over 7 cards, because the discarding was done before you drew their cards. So then we would keep going. So I'll play one more round to show you. So this card here is called Angor's Dial, green and red shrine. So if you play green, draw 2 cards, you may play an additional relic. If you play red, you may swap your relic and play with one from your discard pile. Okay, so I will look again at my hand. I think I'm gonna play a red card because I like the ability that it has there. And I'll say I'm playing this wizard and that relic, face down. My opponent then looks and will say, we'll do a green, because when I place a green, I draw 2 cards and I get to play an additional relic. So this one will give me more relics to give me more points. And I think I'm gonna play these right here. Okay. Okay, so we reveal our wizards. So we have a red and a green. So the red actually gains an advantage against the green, so I'd take a +1 here for the advantage. And then we apply the shrine abilities. So I may swap a relic in play with one from your discard pile. So I already know that this is here, so I'm gonna swap it. My opponent will already know what that is because it's the only one in my discard pile. And green is going to draw 2 cards, and they're gonna play an additional relic. So we're gonna look at our cards before we play that, but I think we're gonna want to do the Rusty Axe. Okay, so now we apply wizard abilities. Wizard, this one doesn't have an ability, and then this one says reveal your hand, +1 per relic revealed. So they will show their hand. So they have 3 relics, so that means they get a modifier of +3. And then what you will do is reveal your relics. So I have +3, and this one has +2 and a +1. We apply our relic abilities. So this one is each rival draws a card, so they'll draw 1 more card, and then we'll go to these ones. So this one says discard 2 cards. So we're gonna look at our hand again and discard cards. Probably this one because it doesn't do anything for us. And let's look at maybe the mediocre mage. And this says +1 for each green wizard played this round. So since we only have the 1, that means we get a +1 for this. And that one's a +2. So now we add up our points here. So this is 6, 7, and then we have 4, 7. So in this case, we both tied. So what that would mean or signify for this game is our wizards would be placed off to the side. Both of these wizards would be placed off to the side. And you would play again another round. And whoever wins that round then gets 2 wizards instead of just the normal 1. If at any time you have no wizards or no relics in your hand, you will then discard your entire hand and draw back up to 7, minus the number of wizards that are in your Hall of Immortality. So in this case, since I have 1, I would draw 6 cards. But that's how you play Wizards and Relics. I hope that that was helpful for you guys, and let's go on to final thoughts. So my thoughts on this game is that this game is a pretty fun game if you enjoy card games. If you enjoy cards like Unstable Unicorns, that this could be in your realm of familiarity with this game. Personally, card games are not one of my top favorite games to always play, but I do enjoy them, especially if I'm playing with younger siblings or if I want a game that's a little bit quicker and easy to teach. I'll usually always go to card games, and this one is one that I would bring to the table for those purposes. Otherwise, I would like to play this in a 4-player game to see how the difference is. On a 2-player game, it was mainly just us paying attention to each other, and I wasn't paying attention as much to the cards that were being played as my opponent was, so that was easier for my opponent to win because they were constantly aware and calculating and guessing about what I was going to be doing. So if you are like that in games and you enjoy doing that in games, this might be a game for you. I am not a very good poker player or bluffer. I'm usually just focused on what I'm doing, which is not that great for this type of game, but could be for you if you enjoy that. I just wanted to say as well, thank you guys for watching, and I hope you enjoyed my video of Wizards and Relics. Thanks again for watching, guys. I hope to see you next time. Bloopers! 9 for, who knows? Who knows? All right, so before we get started with the playthrough, okay.
What was wrong with that?
Playthrough.
Okay.
I'm trying to be better.
Okay.
So my thoughts on this game are, it is a pretty fun, it is R? Okay. Hello?
Hello?
So replayability, blah, blah, blah.